Why keep records? Well, you want to verify a person's qualification. They may have a future employer call through, and unfortunately people might take somebody's certificate and photocopy it and place their name over the top. So prospective employers might want to call through and verify that somebody's qualified. Also, somebody might have lost their qualification that you've printed out and need to be reissued, so we'd want to keep training records for that reason. Also, we want to assure the quality training. This is where the ASQA audits come through, or whatever governing body in that particular time. So that's where you're keeping all of the evidence that's been submitted and all of the evidence of your validation. Now, there's a broader level outside of the RTO, and that's to keep your training records in order to compare data and access national reports. And finally, because it's the law. So taking a step back about this national data and access to reports, let's have a look for a minute at the National Centre for Vocational Education Research. This is NCVER, and they release reports on training and workplace skills. So that can benefit the trainer and the RTO. It can also benefit organisations out there and when they're thinking about their training needs for the future. And it drives the industry councils to look at government funding for where the skills gaps are as well. Okay, so I've gone through to their website, into statistics and into students and courses, and come up with this page which gives me 6 reports. There's one down the bottom, people with a disability in vocational education and training. And the reason that one might be interesting to you is if you want to approach your RTO for some extra budget allowance for extra support for people with a disability, you could be showing them hard statistics on trends of the increase of people with a disability attending vocational training. So there's just one example. There's also lots of examples there about students and courses, trends perhaps where people used to be taking a Certificate 4 level in a course and now they're going higher than that and starting at a diploma level. So that could be interesting for your own professional development and, making sure that you would be able to train at a higher level. In other words, you would need at least that level of qualification yourself. So very, very interesting. Now, NCVER manages this process of data collection through AVETMISS. AVETMISS is the Australian Vocational Education and Training Management Information Statistical Standard. So there is a few different ways that information is gathered. So the VET provider collection is a bunch of data. The VET provider, of course, is the RTO, and the data from their original enrolment is collected that way. So let's stop and have a look at that. Remember when you enrolled with Evoke and you had quite a lot of fields that you had to fill out on the enrolment form? So it starts with your name, but then it went down to information about was English your first language or second language, disabilities, which year you left school. So there was a lot of information that was required there, and that all gets collated for some output on VET providers, and that was all the information on trends and people and what qualifications they previously had. That report that I showed you, that selection of reports, had come from that VET provider collection that's been generated from the enrolments. So the enrolment records are very, very important to keep. Now moving on, there's VET in schools. So schools who are RTOs and trainers that train and assess inside a school to school students, they have to collect AVETMISS reporting. Also, if you are a trainer who is training apprentices with an RTO, there's a different lot of data that's collected there. And finally, there's the Student Outcome Survey, and that is a more formalised feedback that's given to students, and you'll actually be doing a student outcome survey at the completion of your course. So that's the 4 different realms of AVETMISS reporting.